Have you ever wondered why it's so difficult to find a comfortable sleep position? Or maybe why your mind or your body can't seem to calm down at night? Well, Chiropractic Care might have the answers for you, and it's not just about pain. It's about improving the quality of your sleep through better spinal health and a balanced nerve system. Plus, I want to share my 3 favorite tips to help you get quality sleep. So let's dive in and learn how Chiropractic Care can help improve your sleep. Okay, so the first thing we want to touch on is, it actually does relate to kind of spinal mechanics and spinal pain. So number one, a lot of people have issues getting quality sleep at night because they wake up sore, they wake up stiff, not just in the morning, but even as they're, only sleeping for a couple hours at night. And so this is where Chiropractic Care can be really beneficial. One of the things to remember is your spine has got 24 different bones in it, and there's 7 joints between the vertebrae above and below. So that's a lot of joints in your body. And if the joints and the mechanics of your spine are something's not moving correctly or something's out of alignment, that puts a lot of strain on our bodies. And so a lot of us, when we sleep at night, if we have low back issues, our low backs get stiff when our spine tries to stretch out a little bit. Maybe it's neck pain or shoulder pain. We usually use too many pillows and that sort of stuff, which alters that posture. But that's one benefit of Chiropractic Care, is just increasing just from a mechanical standpoint, increasing the movement in the vertebrae of your spine, making sure the alignment, the mechanics in the spine are normal. It will absolutely make sleep more comfortable at night. And so while pain and poor spinal mechanics actually do contribute a lot to disrupting our sleep, it isn't actually the most important factor that we want to talk about. And this is one most people don't understand. So when the mechanics of the spine are bad, when our posture is off, when the spine stops moving correctly, this alters the neurologic pathways that fire in our body, and it activates a sympathetic fight or flight response. I'm sure you've heard of a fight or flight response before. This is a state of physiology the body gets into to help us, just like the name suggests, fight or flight, to help us fight a threat or flee from the threat. And what happens at night is, obviously the things that happen when your body's in fight or flight are completely the opposite of the things that we want to happen when we sleep. Ideally, when we sleep, we want our rest and digest systems running, which is our parasympathetic part of our nerve system. And so it's like a teeter-totter, and most of us are living with a higher sympathetic dominance when we should be living with a higher parasympathetic dominance. So spinal mechanics absolutely do impact that neurologic balance in the body. And so movement in the spine, not having a posture that's forward, a cervical neck posture that shifts forward, that straightens out, that actually pulls the spinal cord tight. Those are the 2 biggest things that create a fight or flight response in the body. And this is going to limit your body's ability to actually totally calm down and rest. And that is essential to get good sleep. If you're one of those people that is waking up multiple times a night, just doesn't seem to get into a deep sleep, it could be that there is something interfering with your neurologic balance in your body that just is limiting how much rest you can actually get, how deep you can get into that rest and digest. And it is crucially important. We do a lot of our healing when we sleep, a lot of our emotional processing when we sleep, even memory formations and things that we've learned throughout the day get cemented in when we sleep. Getting quality sleep, it is essential. And if our body is stuck in that fight or flight mode, we are limiting our body's ability to do that. And it absolutely has massive impacts in our health. And so that is one of my biggest, things that we talk about with our patients. And one of the most important things to take care of our spine is the benefit of helping to calm down our body's sympathetic balance, our sympathetic nerve system, to a more balanced sympathetic parasympathetic system. We do want to get into a sympathetic physiology if we are in a fight or flight situation, but night is not the time for that to happen. When we're going to bed and sleeping, we want our body in that parasympathetic system. And so having that flexibility to flip back and forth is super important. Okay, and the last thing, and speaking of those changes in body physiology from a sympathetic dominance, maybe something we're more living in during the day, to a more rest and digest that we want to be in at night, that type of physiology, that rest and digest steps, there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of physiologic changes the body goes through to get ready for sleep, whether it's neurotransmitter changes in the brain, blood levels changing, hormone levels changing in the body. These are all things that need to be measured and detected by the nervous system. Again, it is your nerve system that is controlling and coordinating all the different cells of your body to function together so that you can properly fit into whatever environment that you're in. And so that is at the fundamental level of chiropractic, is making sure that your brain, which the brain's job is to coordinate the 37 trillion cells in your body, that those signals can travel down the spinal cord and out their nerve systems correctly. When the spine is unhealthy, when it gets out of alignment, when there's decay in the joints. This can basically interfere with the nerve system in a couple different ways. We can pinch nerves, we can alter neurologic input up into the brain. We talked about the sympathetic parasympathetic dominance, but it interrupts our brain's ability to properly control and coordinate what's happening in the body. And if our hormone levels are off, even just a little bit, that really has massive implications into our physiology or how our body works. So the quality of your sleep, I would argue, is very much linked to how well your brain can control and coordinate things like, again, neurotransmitters, hormones, body temperature. All of these things play a crucial role into preparing your body for sleep. And so you, just like an Olympic athlete needs to have all their movements in whatever sport are super precise, and it's one of those things that makes them, I watch Roger Federer play tennis, and just watching how smooth and coordinated his body is, it looks effortless out there on the tennis court, and it's why he's, one of the best ever to play the sport. A lot of our elite athletes are like that. They're not. What makes an elite athlete so much better than an average athlete is not profound things. It's just perfection of the subtle little subtleties in the sport that make them elite. And that's how we want our bodies to operate. We want to be elite functioning physiologic units, whether it's sleep, whether it's immune function, whether it's digestion, cardiovascular function. I want my body to function optimally in that environment, and a nerve system that can properly control and coordinate all of those cells and properly direct what's happening in that body is going to be key. My favorite analogy for this is an orchestra. If you think of your body as an orchestra, imagine going to a symphony and listening to all the members of this orchestra who may be very talented, but imagine them all playing their music at the same time, at their own speed, at their own pace, whenever they want to. It would sound terrible when all those instruments and all those artists or musicians are coordinated properly by the conductor. When they all follow the music and the conductor and everything is in harmony, it sounds beautiful. And that's how we want our body to operate. I would argue that from the chiropractic perspective, disease a lot of the time is a breakdown in that cellular coordination, and it produces all these weird symptoms that we get. But at the root fundamental level is a disharmony in the body. And in fact, the word disease, if you look at it, it's dis-ease. It's a lack of normal coordinated cell function in the body that eventually leads to this massive breakdown in our physiology. So when we sleep, it seems effortless, but there's actually a lot going on to get our bodies into that mode to sleep, just like in every other mode, whether it's, like I said, the immune system or our digestive system. There's so many steps that have to take place. We need proper communication to the brain and the body, and that is why we should see a chiropractor. It's not for pain primarily. That might be the most common reason people have gone in the past, might be the most common reason you think, but chiropractic is all about ensuring as healthy neurologic communication as possible. Okay, outside of the chiropractic realm, my 3 favorite tips for getting a good night's sleep as well are: number 1, taking a shower before bed. So I actually like to do this about 20 or 30 minutes before I want to be in bed or sleeping. The key with this is a warm shower, which seems counterintuitive, but it's a short, warm shower. You don't want to get too hot in that shower. But getting some warm water on your skin does 2 things. Number 1, it's going to dilate your blood vessels to get blood to the surface so your body can dissipate that heat. And when you heat your skin and not your core, that actually helps your body cool itself off. And at night, your body does lower your body temperature to help you get restful sleep. So if we sleep when it's too warm, if our body temperature rises, that makes for a non-restful type sleep. So we want to make it easy for our body to cool down. So having a quick shower, with warmer water on there, get that on the skin, let your body dry off and dissipate that heat. It can be a great way to help cool your body temperature to get you set up for sleep properly. My second best tip is create what's called a digital sunset. I have to thank a guy named Brian Johnson, who has a program called Optimize, which is all about optimizing our lives to produce the best versions of ourselves. He coined this term for me. Maybe he got it from somewhere else. It's possible. But this term of a digital sunset, where we have a time limit that we set on all of our digital technologies, whether it's our cell phones or our TVs or our computers. A lot of the lights in our house emit harmful blue light, at least harmful when it comes to sleep. They affect some of our neurotransmitter levels like melatonin in our brain, and it makes it harder for us to actually calm down and get our bodies ready for sleep. And so Brian suggests about an hour before bed introducing this thing called a digital sunset, where you start to, turn your cell phones off, prep your body mentally, turn the lights down in your house. We are a big fan of dimmer switches on our lights, and we do try and do this once evening comes. Start to lower the lights on our house, and again, ideally turn off the cell phones and computers. There are some technologies on cell phones and computers now. I know this for sure with Mac products, but it's called Night Shift, I believe, that actually alters the light spectrum of lights that use to emit light from your cell phone or laptop. desktop away from a blue light, more towards a yellow, warmer light. And so that can be beneficial. But there's other reasons to actually turn the cell phones and that sort of stuff off as well. They excite the brain in other areas if we're watching something, and we really want to start to calm down. So if you're having trouble sleeping, the digital sunset an hour before bed, start to really think about that, what our nighttime routine is to get us ready for bed. And the last tip would be the same bedtime and getting up at the same time in the morning is super important to maintain normalization for your circadian rhythm. So our circadian rhythms are these rhythms, hormone rhythms, body chemistry changes, neurologic changes the body goes through, ideally match the sunlight outside. Again, we've created such an artificial environment with light that it might jack up those circadian rhythms, but when you can match your sleep to the natural circadian rhythms in your body, you're going to get the most restful sleep. And so if you're up one night till midnight and then you want to get to bed at 8 the next night, that's tough on your body to really get in a rhythm of regulating its chemistry and its neurology to make sure that it preps you for sleep correctly. It is recommended that 10 o'clock, if that's your bedtime, that's your bedtime every night. You may not work the next day, and there's going to be times where you don't do that. Your birthday party, or out late or whatever, that's fine. But ideally, we do want to try and have a regular sleep schedule, even on our days off. And then to get up, the same thing. If you have to get up at 6 o'clock every day, but then on the weekends you sleep till 10, if you have trouble sleeping, that can be one of the reasons that it's hard for your body to get into a rhythm. This may not affect you, but if you are one of those people that struggles with sleep, do try and get on a more regular schedule, going to bed every night and waking up at the same time. It may not be fun to wake up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday, but if it means you get higher quality sleep, you will live longer, and that is important. So very important tips to take to heart. And like I said, if you are someone who struggles with sleep, try to implement some of these things. I'm sure it'll make a big difference. Okay, so there you have it. As with anything, when we want to get the most of our bodies and really have a good foundation when it comes to our health, we have to make sure that we honor what our body is trying to do. And starting with a good nerve system and neurologic control over our bodies is essential. So if you're not under chiropractic care, whether you live around where we practice in Chaska, Minnesota, or anywhere, reach out to us. We can help plug you into an office that is trained and set up properly to actually dig into that nerve system to make sure that you're getting the right type of chiropractic care to get the best results, of course. And then hopefully you do implement some of those other things. Start to try the digital sunset. Start to try taking the shower before bed. There's such easy things that can really improve your quality of sleep. And with the bedtime routine, stay consistent. Implement these things. Let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out to us, ask any questions that you have. Please like this video, follow us on Facebook, visit our website, check out our blog. We post articles like this all the time to help you live a healthier life. I'm Dr. Jeff for Discover Chiropractic.